We're back. Thanks for joining me at the Critics Clinic to get your prescription for all things movie and entertainment. Before we do anything else, as always, please click that subscribe button right there below. Like, comment on these posts and videos. Do it to other ones, please. Thank you. I'm here to review a movie called Novocaine. Saw it over the weekend. Wanted to give you my rundown and review of it. As always, if you don't want any spoilers, fast forward to the time I put on the screen. That way you can avoid them and get to my review. So it stars Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder. Jack Quaid's character is someone who has a disease that makes it to where he can't feel any pain. He's lived his whole life very safe and comfortable. He actually details one situation to where he says he can't eat solid food because he's concerned he'll bite his tongue off because he can't feel it. So the movie details all these safety precautions he has. He's going into his office at the bank, and he has all these little safety measures on the sides of things. He has all these little ballpoint things on all of his pens and pencils so he doesn't stab himself. So it's kind of cool how they show he does all these things to cope with the idea that he cannot feel pain, because you usually think, oh, you can't feel pain, that's great. But for him, it's a matter of not ever having the idea of if something's stabbing him or hurting him, he won't know that. So anyway, he works at a bank. He's lived this loner life, runs into this girl that he sees, love at first sight. They've been working together for about 6 months. Finally, he burns himself with some coffee, which leads to them talking. And they ask each other out. They go on a date. He falls in love, head over heels. They have a night together. The very next day in the bank, he's like just on cloud nine. This fun music's playing. He's just happy looking over at his new girl. All of a sudden, these bank robbers come in, shoot up the place, take the girl as a hostage. And pretty much the entire movie centers around him trying to get her back and him trying to get these clues as to how he can get her back. His best friend, played by Jacob Batalon, you've probably seen him as the best friend in the Spider-Man movies, the new ones. He's playing the exact same character. He's like a Dungeons and Dragons friend, though. They've never actually physically met each other. And because he has no other friends, he calls on him to help him, finally meets him up in person. They run and try and get the girl. But spoiler alert, there's a little moment there where you realize that the girl, after she's being kidnapped, the kidnapper is actually her brother. And they've been kind of running game on Jack Quaid's character, as well as all these other banks in the past, to try and rob them. Towards the end of the movie, he finally does catch up with the robbers after a series of events. Gets the girl back. The girl, after revealing that this is her brother and she lied to him and tricked him, he still saves her. They still live happily ever after to an extent. At the end of the movie, when everything's said and done, the police do arrest the girl. She is in prison, and they end the movie with them having like a little visit to where he brings her a little birthday cupcake in the prison. So that was kind of fun. And that was pretty much the movie. It was very action-packed. I would say in terms of my 5 categories, we're going to start with the cast and crew. The cast itself, Jack Quaid, I thought he did a great job, actually. It's funny, he plays the exact same character, Huey, that he does in The Boys. If any of you have seen that on Amazon Prime, he's the exact same character, like this nerdy guy who's always living in fear, and his comedic relief, very funny, very quirky. But he did a good job, and hey, props to his manager, because he's picking roles for him that work, and it worked in The Boys, and it works in this. He did a great job. Amber Midthunder, you probably know her from Prey. Her character was very different, because she's playing initially this damsel in distress, and then she's playing this con man towards the second part of the movie, which was interesting. It's a different... Previously, she had to play this very hardened character in Prey, where she's literally fighting for her life with her people. So very different thing for her. So it was good to see her switch, that she can do that. I thought she did a really good job, actually. Jacob Batalon, again, he was seen in the Spider-Man as Tom Holland's best friend in the Spider-Man series. He played the exact same character, much like Jack Quaid did. He's a comedic relief friend who has these little one-liners, and they're very funny. He does a good job. It is, again, kudos to his manager and his agent as well, because he gets some roles that fit his personality. So I can't fault him for it, because it worked. It just was like watching Spider-Man again. Just like with Jack Quaid, it was like watching The Boys again. The way they act, but they did fine. It was a good role. I would say overall for the casting, and some of the supporting cast as well, the police officers, things like that, they did a good job. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 2. I have no notes for the casting. It was fine. For the plot itself, I enjoyed it. I think from a medical standpoint, there were definitely some plot holes. I can tell this was written by someone who maybe looked up this disease and seems like really cool. I think I've seen this on Grey's Anatomy. Let me write about this. Without any of the indications of what would happen in real life with these types of burns that would happen. You don't just get third-degree burns and you're just fine walking around because you don't feel pain. You're going to have significant volume loss. You're going to dehydrate and your organs are going to shut down. You're going to become hypotensive, all that kind of stuff. Which is why burns are very important and very serious. And so other times where he was like bleeding out, he was just going, and he would give himself an epinephrine injection, which is not the same as the epi that you push when you're in shock. It's a very different dosage. Anyway, not important. There were lots of medical plot holes in the movie that, again, no one outside of the medical field would really care. It was a very entertaining movie. The plot was very simplistic, but it was fun. It was entertaining. The action was good. There were a lot of fun scenes that show, because he can't feel pain, they were kind of fun. And obviously he's sticking his hand in a vat of fried grease and he doesn't feel it at all. And his hand comes out huge. And this kind of joke throughout the movie is everyone's seeing his hand like, what happened to your hand? And then he's being tortured at one point and he has to remember what pain is. And he has to like pretend to scream and like moan when he's getting stabbed in his arm and stuff and in his legs. So that was actually very funny. Again, overall, the plot was fine. There were some plot holes. There were just other little scenes when the police officer's agent friend got shot. Didn't even go check on him. Just left with Jack Quaid's character to find the people that had shot him and was like, yeah, I'm sure he's dead. I was like, did you check? Did you check his pulse? He could still be alive. He could make it. But there were a lot of little things like that that were just off. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 2. I think it was entertaining, but there were a lot of holes. It was a bit simplistic. Still enjoyed it. I would say overall for the production, I thought that did fine. I thought it did a fine job. I felt like I was in a big city. I felt like the scenes where they're running after each other were good. The action was good. The choreography was good. I have no notes really for that. I'm going to give it a 2. In terms of the music, I'm going to say from my standpoint, I thought it was fine. It did what it had to do. It had the high-paced, action-packed moments during the action sequences, so that was fine. It was nothing groundbreaking. But like I said, for people that are just joining me, when it comes to the music category, unless it's a musical like Wicked or something like that, or West Side Story, where I'm very much talking about the music progressing the storyline, I'm either going to give it a 2 or a 0. So for this, I'm going to give it a 2. So right now we're doing pretty good. We have a 2 for cast and crew. We have a 1 for plot. We have a 2 for production. We have a 2 for this. So we're at a 7. Next, we're going to talk about the final one. How much did I enjoy this movie? I actually very much enjoyed this movie, much more than I thought I would. The acting was fine. It was really good. It was actually very funny. But outside of it being an action comedy, there were very poignant moments. There were these little moments where they have two characters talking to each other. Specifically, I remember one time where Jack Quaid was talking to this older man who was about to lose his business. Because again, Jack Quaid works in a bank. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to help you save this. And it must be hard to have lost your wife. And there was this really poignant moment where the older man was just talking about, she was my everything. Whether I lost her 40 years after we got married or the day after I met her, it still would have hurt just the same. And I was like, wow, that was really deep for this movie. And there were actually a couple of scenes like that where I was like, oh, wow, this is actually deep. Entertaining. I enjoyed it. It was fun. You don't have to think a lot about this movie, especially in a time like this where sometimes you don't want a dissertation or a thesis movie and you don't want something that's just silly. This was actually just really good. I would give it a 2 out of 2 for how much I enjoyed it a lot. So overall, my prescription for this would be an 8 out of 10. I would definitely say go see this movie. Tell me what you think below. Tell me what I missed. Tell me what I didn't miss. Tell me what you liked about it. We'll go from there. There'll be more to come. Thank you.